It was only after driving for 3 days without rest that he called the police and gave himself up. Detective Medina was sent to the mother's apartment to process the crime scene.
When we arrived, there was nothing disturbed. It looked like somebody had just left on vacation. We flipped over the mattress, and of course it was soaked with blood. And there was a note there. He left a note that said, "Sorry, gents, for the mess, but really had no time." That's the first time in my career, and I've been in this business 43 years, that, the suspect left the cops a note.
The bodies of Kemper's mother and her best friend had been carefully hidden in 2 closets. In October 1973, Edmund Kemper would be tried for multiple murder. Both prosecution and defense searched for the answer to the question on everyone's lips.
Why would this large, friendly, cooperative guy, why would he kill all these people?
Defense investigator Harold Cartwright spent over 100 hours interviewing Kemper.
I never at all felt threatened at any time by, 260 pounds or something, 6'8" or whatever. He's an enormous man, but he was just sort of like a gentle giant.
But it seems Kemper's demeanor with the opposite sex may have been very different. Cameron Jackson, a graduate psychology student at the time, was asked to perform a standard personality test on him.
I was the only person in the room with him, and I read the questions to him, and he was very cooperative. And then suddenly, just out of the blue, he both sort of started to get up, and he just erupted like a volcano and he's like that, and his hands and everything. And I just went like that, backwards. And in immediately came 1 or 2 policemen who calmed everything down. It was just so fast and such an overwhelming rush of anger and emotion and fury. I don't really remember the exact question now that I was asking, but I'm sure it had something to do with women. And I was a woman asking him questions.
In the courtroom, Kemper's taped confessions were played aloud.
I recall that sitting in the trial, listening to the taped confession of Kemper and looking around and seeing the face on the parents of the murdered girls, just the shock and the agony and what they had gone through.
In the coverage of these terrible crimes, I think the most neglected aspect are the victims. There's a brief mention of their names usually. These were all young college girls. They were working towards a career. They might have chosen to have a family. All of that is lost when a murderer comes along and takes them away.
What a tragedy. In those families where a young woman was murdered and taken away, the tragedy of that is as much alive today as it was back in 1972.